What's happening, comic fans? It is Mike from the Hardcover Comic here. Today, I wanted to talk about 5 comic book short stories. We're talking 4 to 6 issues here that you can use as a break in between your big long runs. A lot of us like omnibus or deluxe editions, and those can be pretty big chunks of stories. You know, you'll read 12, 20, 30, 50 issues at a time, and you want to change things up a little. So, here are some 5 fantastic short stories to check out in between your big long runs. Let's get into it. Before we get started, please be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. We post videos daily talking about comics, live streams, doing all kinds of stuff. Top 10s, new comic reviews. It's a lot of fun. Be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and that like button. It helps us out a lot. Please let me know if you guys like this video. If you want, I can make more of these. There's a whole bunch of shorter stories. I didn't want to make this video too long and get too crazy with it. So if you do like this idea, I can definitely do some more of these style videos, talking about shorter stories, longer runs to read during the quarantine, things like that. Let us know down in the comments below if you'd like to see more videos like this. Also, check out Dr. Squatch if you'd like. There's a link down in the description below that will get you free shipping on your order. What they do is soap that is chemical and paraben free, along with other men's healthcare grooming products. Like I said, the link down in the description below will get you free shipping on your subscription. Matt uses them and he absolutely loves Dr. Squatch. Their ads are fantastic too. At least check out their website. Also, be sure to check out our Patreon. There's a link down in the description below. For as little as $1, you can enter our hardcover comic giveaways that we're doing every month. The voting just started last night for this month of April. We're doing an Image Deluxe Edition giveaway, which is going to be very, very exciting. Voting's happening now. So if you're interested in checking out something like that, check the link down in the description below to check out the hardcover comic Patreon. Now, 5 stories that I recommend checking out in between your big long runs. Like I mentioned, sometimes you need a break, you need to change things up a little bit, and you don't want to invest too much time in between your big long runs, your Fantastic Fours or your Spider-Man. So, let's get into it. Let's start off with the first title. First up is a book from Image Comics, a 6-issue miniseries from Brian K. Vaughan and Steve Skroce. Scroachy? I forget. Either way, Brian K. Vaughan is a very well-known writer. He's done a lot of comic books, including Saga, Why the Last Man, Ex Machina, Swamp Thing, Runaways. The list goes on and on. Brian K. Vaughan is a beast. He's done a lot of incredible books. And Steve Scroce has done some work. I know he did a few issues of things in like the Age of Apocalypse and whatnot, but mostly he's done storyboarding. He worked on like The Matrix, I believe, and a few other pretty high budget movies. And they teamed up together to do this 6-issue mini at Image Comics called We Stand on Guard. I am not just choosing this because I am biased as a Canadian. It is truly a fantastic story. Following basically the 2-4, they call themselves. The 2-4 is a squad of civilians in Canada that is fighting against America. And why are they fighting against America? Well, in the year 21, I believe the main story takes place in the year 2124, with sort of flashbacks to how everything started. But essentially, what's happened is someone attacked the White House, and the White House thought it was Canada. The U.S. thought it was Canada, and they attacked back. And the two countries started fighting with each other. They basically got into a war, and one of the main characters sort of grew up during this wartime and wants revenge. Is not happy about what's happened. So it follows this group of Canadians called the 2-4. They've sort of organized themselves as a group. They've got their own secret hideout, and the U.S. is definitely onto them. And so you get to see how this is 100 years in the future and some change. So you get to see how technology's advanced. The artwork is amazing by Steve Skroce. It's so damn good. It's so cool to see the machines that they've drawn, the characters that they create in this story. It's a lot of fun. It's great to see all the moving pieces. That the U.S. is the state's perspective and then the Canadian perspective on this, how one country views the other, how the people within this storyline view the other based on their positions of power and whatnot. It's really, really cool. There's a lot happening in this book. Like I said, you get to see what happens in the past and in the present as well. The artwork's incredible, and if you're a Canadian, it's kind of cool to get sort of a more of a little spotlight on Canada there from Brian K. Vaughan, which is always really cool. And there's a really great line about Superman being a Canadian in here that is definitely worth checking out. It's a really good book, definitely not for kids, a very adult, mature themed, but really fantastic stuff. I really enjoyed it. 6 issues, so it's not too long. There's a deluxe edition that you see here that you can pick up. I don't think it's hard to get. You can probably get the trade paperback as well, but a nice small story that could hopefully someday be a movie. Next up is a book I don't have a physical copy of. I'm kind of thinking about getting it to bind it along with some other stories from this writer, and that is Nemesis by Mark Millar and Steve McNiven. It's a 4-issue miniseries from Image Comics, published by Image Comics. That was one of the earlier stories. I don't remember. It's probably been over 10 years since that book came out. But it's really cool. And it's a controversial book. I know a lot of people don't like it. I'm honestly sort of hit or miss with Mark Millar. Some of his books are really awesome. Like I really enjoyed Starlight. But then a title like Reborn with Greg Capullo I thought was just okay. And that goes usually with most Mark Millar stories. But Nemesis was a hit for me. I know a lot of people don't like it. It's essentially about a person who became a super criminal and is just sort of bored and just wants to do things that are as crazy as possible to come up with these crazy plans. It's sort of like a Moriarty scenario, you know what I mean? A lot more violent and, taking place in the present time with great technology and really cool ideas in terms of, being a super criminal and these crazy schemes and plans with insane explosions and action sequences, beautifully rendered by Steve McNiven. He's one of the best. I wish he could be fast, but I mean, I guess his artwork takes time. I understand it, and it's really fantastic in Nemesis. It's a fun 4-issue romp through the streets of Japan and then the U.S., and as you get to see this international super criminal wreak havoc on the most notable police department in the United States, and wants to take down their sheriff. It's really, really cool. I highly recommend checking it out. It's a very quick read, and it's definitely a nice change of pace. Next up is a title that some people may disagree with. It is the Valiant from Valiant Comics. This is a great story, even if you've never read the Valiant universe. Now, I'm going to say that because it deals with a villain that does not show up in any other storyline. At least I haven't seen them in the reboot yet, aside from the Valiant story here. And you get to see the entire universe. You get to see all the characters come together to fight this villain. But not only that, the story really focuses around the Eternal Warrior and the Geomancer, and you get to find out a lot about the history between them. You get to find out a lot about the history of Gilad himself, the Eternal Warrior, and you get to learn a little bit about Bloodshot in here as well. This is one of those stories that stands alone in a very interesting way. It's opening to new readers. It's written by Matt Kindt and Jeff Lemire, with artwork by Paulo Rivera. It's a very beautiful book. It's great for new readers because it gives you sort of a glimpse at every single character, shows you their power sets, shows you their personality, and you get to see the whole universe come together to fight this big, terrible force. It's really well done, and the cool thing is the ending of it does actually spill into Jeff Lemire's run on Bloodshot. It does have long-lasting effects on the Valiant universe, so it's a great 2-in-1 combo for both fans who, have been keeping up with the Valiant universe and maybe missed this, or someone who wants to check out Valiant without getting committed to a long, ongoing series. The Valiant will be a good place for you to start and see what character you're into, what sort of style of story you'd like to follow, whether it's espionage with Ninjak, whether it's a historical action title with Eternal Warrior, or whether it's, a sci-fi story with Exo Manowar. You'll get a glimpse of everything in here. Next up is a book I actually wanted to do a full video on because it's actually a really fantastic book and I really enjoyed it, but I'm just going to throw it in here. It is published by Dark Horse Comics. It is called New York. It is by Olivier Valentin. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I hope I'm not messing it up. Oh, Olivier Vatin, sorry. So this was, of course, a comic published initially in Europe, translated and published through Dark Horse Comics in North America. And it follows, it's a really cool story. So it takes place in a post-apocalyptic Earth, sort of, after our time. Nature has taken over civilization again, taken over the planet again, and sort of these tribes have started to rise up, right? These primitive tribes of human beings. And at the start, we get to follow these two characters. One is named Thaz. He's the hero of this tribe, of this clan. He's sort of like the Conan of the clan. Of course, no one's too intelligent. No one's really speaking clear, concise, or eloquent English at all. And then the second character we get to follow is Darkchild. That's what the character is called in the book. Sort of the outcast of the clan. Seen sort of as a curse for the clan, really. And really what we see here is this clan deal with the fact that they're in a post-apocalyptic Earth. They have an elder who goes up to the land of the gods, which you end up finding out is just a shopping mall. And things start to grow from there. You get introduced to a whole bunch of new characters. You get to find out what happened to this planet. You get introduced to these crazy octopod characters that that the Dark Child has to deal with, and Thaz has to deal with, and other people have to deal with. There's a lot going on in this universe. It's really interesting the way it was built, and it's really cool to see the characters evolve and sort of learn in parallel with each other, especially between Thaz and Dark Child, sort of near the start of the book. And then you get to see Darkchild develop and grow until it becomes this crazy story you just hadn't even expected to spiral out of what it started as. It's really wonderful what this becomes, and it's really great to see sort of a look at, like, again, humans dealing with extreme environments and extreme conditions, and humans from even completely different civilizations getting along and sort of elevating one another. It's really, really nice. It comes in this very nice absolute size hardcover, if that's the way you want to pick it up. I don't know if there's a trade paperback or single issues that you can pick up. Again, I think this was published as an OGN through Dark Horse at this size. It's really, really nice. I think it's about $30 US, so a little pricey, but definitely worth checking out if it's on Comixology or Hoopla, and if you're into that, definitely check out New York. It's very, very cool, and a great change of pace, like I said. And the last book I wanted to mention is Divinity. It is a 4-issue miniseries from Valiant Comics as well. What's great about Divinity is it did spawn sequel series. So there was Divinity 2 and Divinity 3, Stalinverse, and then Eternity as well, which was sort of a spiritual successor of the trilogy. But Divinity can stand completely on its own, which is a wonderful thing about the story. And a lot of Valiant stories, in all honesty, they can really stand alone as a solo story. So what you get here is a story about a character, Abram Adams, who becomes a cosmonaut in the Soviet Union, and basically gets sent on a mission to the edge of the galaxy. And that's where he basically reaches out and touches the unknown. Which turns him into Divinity. And what happens from there is really cool. So really the comic is an exploration of time and sort of like this Dr. Manhattan character, really, at the end of the day. What's really cool is, again, the Valiant universe does jump in. You get to see Unity join the action, but they're sort of a side character in like a single issue. It mainly focuses on the history and the story of Abram. And it's really nice because you get to see him, again, go from a child to an adult to Divinity. And even when he becomes, it's so great the way it all ties together, and the way it relates to comic books as well, as in, turning the page and what page of our life we're on. And he gets to a point where he can turn to any page and he can put the two pages together and make them meet. It's really, really cool the way sort of time and fate is intertwined in this story, with beautiful artwork by Trevor Hairsine, written by Matt Kint. It's such a fantastic book. If you want to read the sequels, you can, of course. They're available as well. But this main series, the first one, absolutely blew me away. And it was a really fun book, a really different idea. And it's really cool to see it in a universe like the Valiant universe, because it really makes it feel special to know that this sort of thing is tied in with all these other books that some can be silly, some can be very action-oriented. And then there's something really special here with Divinity and this character that's just sort of tucked away in the Valiant universe corner. It's really, really cool, and I highly recommend checking out. It's such a great book. So those are 5 short stories I highly recommend checking out in between your longer runs, just to spice things up a little bit, get a little bit of a break, a change of pace, switch the environment up a little bit, try something new. They're all really fun titles. They're all a little lesser known. I tried not to mention DC and Marvel stories because there's hundreds of those that I could list off, but something a little different, probably a little more unique from what you're reading, especially, with these longer runs at DC and Marvel. You might want to switch things up. So those are 5 series. If you guys like this type of video, I could definitely do more talking about specific publishers or talking about, I love talking about books that I think a lot of people haven't read, and there's a lot of these short story books that I think a lot of people haven't read. These really great OGNs or 6-issue, 4-issue stories. So if you guys like it, let us know down in the comments below, and we'll definitely make more videos like this. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. If you've stuck around this long, you're going to like our other videos. So subscribe, hit that notification bell. It'll let you know whenever we post a new video. Hit that like button as well. It really helps us out a lot. Check out Dr. Squatch. They're a soap subscription company with a link down in the description below. You can check out their website, and you'll get free shipping on your order, thanks to the hardcover comic and our sponsor, Dr. Squatch. And lastly, check out our Patreon for as little as $1. You have the chance to win a hardcover comic. Could be a deluxe, it could be an absolute, it could be an omnibus. This month we're doing an Image Deluxe Edition hardcover. Voting is happening now, so if you're interested, jump in on that. Thank you all very much for tuning in. This is Mike from the Hardcover Comic. Until next time, as always, you stay classy, Internet.